Hey, everybody, welcome to another wonderful episode of the Salon Scoop. We are going to get the scoop today on retailing, but nitty gritty, deep down. We're going to touch upon some new areas, and I'm super excited to have my one and only partner in crime, Sarah Perrin, with us again today. Hey, Sarah, how are you doing?
Hey Scott, I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm good. You ready to talk retail?
Very ready.
Are you really, though? Like, really?
I was going to say that sounded like so
Yeah.
rough. I'm very ready. Yes, I'm super ready. This is something that we really focus on at the salon. So I'm very passionate about retail. I'm really excited to dive in.
All right, well, let's bring some energy. Your response made me think of a one of my favorite Seinfeld episodes. I'm going to caveat here, but Kramer came walking in to the door and asked Jerry and George, who wants to have some fun? And Jerry said, "I do," and George was like, "I do," and Kramer's like, "Now, do you really want to have fun? Or are you just saying you want to have fun?"
Yeah.
And Jerry's like, "I really want to have fun," and George is like, "Nah, no, I was just saying I want to have fun."
Yeah.
Uh,
I'm
so,
George. I'm George.
yeah. Anyways, I want to have some fun. We need to make retail fun again in the salon to get it stimulating. And so that's what we want to focus on a little bit today. But Sarah, maybe you can just kind of start us off by reminding a couple of the instincts of why retail is so important in the salon. I mean, we know from a profit standpoint, it's kind of critical, but give us a little bit more insight. You know, you're owning a salon, you're in it every single day, and what that perspective really needs to be.
Yeah, for sure. So, kind of like you said, obviously everything has shifted a little bit in the last few years, kind of post pandemic. And that's kind of when things really like retail has always been important, but I noticed a huge shift around that time because all of a sudden now we weren't able to do services, right? So you still had to somehow get another stream of revenue going and whatnot. So that's when I really noticed that things took a huge shift in that regard. But then on top of that, too, you have to look at, hairstylists and beauty professionals as we're not just service providers, we are consultants, right? You want your clients coming to you to ask advice about how they can maintain their hair care at home and all of these different things. And if they're not buying the products from you, who is educating them on what they need for their specific hair, they're going to the drugstore, they're going to Sephora, they're picking something off the shelf that might not actually be helping them at all. So it's just really it's an important way to complete your full service by being able to again be that consultant that they go to for everything beauty. So on top of that as well, I just feel like with the retail, like again, it's just the extra stream of revenue. It's really difficult being in an industry where you have to trade your time for money. So you just need to come up with extra ways to be able to increase your check, everything like that, because you will get to a point where you kind of cap out how many people you can see in a day and what you're able to generate income wise, right? So it's just that extra stream of revenue that I feel like a lot of service providers don't tap into fully. And a lot of times that's because the salon doesn't necessarily have the right incentives in place. So that's something I'm super excited to talk about is how to kind of incentivize and get your team excited about retailing and realizing that that's a major part of their job. It's not just an extra thing on the side for them.
Yeah, and I mean, I love what you talk about the beauty consultant. That's really the role. But how do you just, very quickly, we want to take away the salesy. For some reason, people still feel like, well, I don't want to sell and I don't want to be selling retail, and that's not me. And salons often, they're offering incentives to the stylists or the, estheticians to sell products. So it kind of looks that way, but ultimately it's just really about education, right? When you talk about being a
Absolutely.
beauty consultant, like how do you kind of just communicate that internally with your team that it's just about providing education to customers?
So the way that I look at retail and the way that we really coach to our team for selling retail without feeling salesy is retail is your insurance policy, right? People are coming in and dropping, especially if you're looking at some of these big ticket services like, huge color corrections or extension services or whatever it might be. People are dropping, hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on their hair. And if they're just going home and, throwing tresemme on their hair or something like that, what are they really doing? Are they kind of, botching that investment? So the way I think to look at it is, again, it has to come from an education standpoint, right? Your clients are never going to be upset with you for trying to educate them and provide them with this knowledge, so at the very least they can make an educated decision, even if it is outside of your salon. But I feel like that's the best way to kind of go about it. Is it's retail is your insurance policy to guarantee that your investment in your service actually lasts.
Absolutely. And I love what you said. It's just, no one's going to be upset that you gave them, information about what products, might be best for their hair. You're using products, throughout the whole service. So it just makes logical sense to explain to the customer what products you're using on them and why you've chosen those particular products, for their hair, if we're talking about hair products, or for their skin, if we're talking about skin. It's just part of you being the expert and just sharing your knowledge. It's as simple and straightforward as that. And
Oh, for
at the
sure.
end of the visit, whether it's you as a service provider or whether you have a system in place, if you have a front desk, team that's, maybe then talking about, presenting the products that were used during the service today and asking if they'd like to take some of those home with them. And that one thing that I want to add in here is that oftentimes service providers say, oh, you know what, my clients, don't buy, or they think of one particular customer, right? Mary. And I did that one time, what you told me to do. I explained what I used. And then at the end, we asked if she wanted to take some of those products home, and she said no. And therefore, the mindset and the belief of the service provider becomes, Mary doesn't want retail. But it's important to understand that no doesn't mean never, right? It's not like Mary never wants, products. It just means on that particular day, for whatever reason, maybe she already had, existing products at home. So very, very important. I want to repeat this. No does not mean never. It simply means not right now.
Yeah.
And we can't be scared off by a no and make that not talk about products in the future and explain, products in the future, because you're just kind of planting the seed, you're watering it, on each visit, talking about it. And at some point, it's absolutely going to pay off for you. So
I'd love to add something on top of that too, because you're talking about the presentation of, the products that were used during the service. Something that we like to implement is at the end of the service, the stylist will talk to them and, say like, these are the top 3 products that I used on you today. If you're only, in the market to get one, this is the one that you need to get today. And then the other ones, maybe we can talk about, integrating in the future, because it can be a big investment to be like, I used 47 products on you today and they all retail at $50 a pop. Right. So just as to not overwhelm, taking some of those options out and just like being very mindful of your verbiage when you're talking to your clients about this. I know this is a big investment, but if you're looking to get just one thing and take one thing home today, I think that this is your best bet. So that's just something that, like, especially if you're a little bit anxious about, putting such a large investment on the table for them for their retail, budget and everything like that. That's just a good way to kind of let them know that you're being mindful of their beauty budget and that you can incorporate these things in the future.
Absolutely. But coming back to the, the investment on your service, if they've just paid, a couple $100 on their hair, or, or more, if, full balayage, whatever might be going on, then it's not unreasonable for them to be, making a healthy investment to kind of protect what they've just done, that insurance policy, right? So
Totally.
definitely important to, to make sure that they are aware of what it takes to have proper maintenance of the look that you've created.
For sure. Have you ever seen that meme where it's like you've got $600 worth of stuff in your cart and all of a sudden shipping is like $12.99? It's like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
That's what retail kind of reminds me of. It's like extensions 2000, color 600, all of these different things. It's like, now you expect me to buy a $40 shampoo?
Yeah.
It's just like, that's the mind-blowing thing, right?
Yeah, totally, totally. All right. So piggybacking a little bit on another element that really can help your, your salon whether you're an individual, right? If you're an individual service provider in a suite, or whether you're a salon company, having some kind of rewards program for retail is really, really critical in today's world. I mean, reward programs are everywhere in all industries, and they exist in other places that people buy beauty products, right? Whether, Sephora has a, big program. And if they're purchasing products at, big box stores as well, they all have reward programs. So having your own points program, rewards program, specifically for retail, is a very, very critical component that can help ensure that you are not competitively disadvantaged with other retailers out there that do have rewards programs. We all know that consumers like points. It's a kind of an obsession for many. Others, they just kind of come to expect it. So make sure that you have a great rewards program in place. If you don't know by now, it's one of our specialty. It's actually our largest service that we have, is our really popular loyalty apps. It's a customized salon app. You can listen to one of our previous podcasts on it. Check it out on our website. It's really designed for the salon industry and has phenomenal results. But an app-based rewards program in today's day and age is actually critical. You might want to listen to we did a whole podcast episode about the biggest mistake that salons are making with their rewards program by just thinking that their POS system is going to do the job. So really look into it carefully. Feel free to reach out for information, but having rewards, definitely critical for your retail success at salon level.
Yeah,
all right,
absolutely.
Let's switch gears a little bit and get into some specifics, some ideas. We talked about the importance of making retail exciting. We got to get the staff first and foremost excited about retail again. And in terms of making it fun, now everything's about game, right? And we talk about gamification of lots of different things. Sarah, maybe share with us some ideas of how we can make retail fun at the salon level in terms of promotions, in terms of games that gets, I guess, staff and customers excited about it.
For sure. So this is like one of my favorite topics. We are all about gamifying everything at the salon to make it fun. And it's funny because you would think that the incentive of just having, a higher commission check would be, incentive enough for your team, but that isn't always what it is, right? So I'm just going to dive into a couple of different ways that we've kind of used games and everything like that to get our team riled up. And we always have like huge success whenever we do a retail challenge. And that's usually what we'll do, is we'll run a retail challenge for about a month. And we've done this in different ways. We've done bingos where we have like a big bingo card and there's 30 products on the entire card or whatever, and every time they sell it, then they can put that sticker down, and if you get a line, you get let's say a paid day off. If you black it out, then you get, let's say, a hot tool that we've invested in. Whatever it might be, we like to have some type of juicy incentive to really push them towards doing that. And then the other thing that I really love doing is when we do these like 30-day retail challenges, we'll usually try and like kind of take inspiration from like a common childhood game. So we've done before where we did like a little mock Mario Kart type of situation. So
Nice.
I bought a big chalkboard and we got chalk and drew out this really fun like Rainbow Road kind of inspired track, and every $1,000 that they sold or whatever it might be, then they got to move their little Mario character up the board, and at each flag there was different incentives that you would reach, and at the end of the month whoever was the furthest got the grand prize. So that one was really like our team got super into that.
Yeah, that is amazing.
It was really fun. And actually, we just ran this one last month, and I would say it was probably one of our more successful retail challenges. So we actually did like a month-long Monopoly, where every day they would get a Monopoly card and it had a challenge on it. So usually the challenge was like 2 or 3 parts. So one would be kind of a social media challenge. It would be like receive, $50 if you, and I'm talking 50 Monopoly dollars, by the way, $50 cash Monopoly if you, post a picture of your favorite hot tool. And then if you retailed that hot tool, then you got $300 to put in your bank, right? And then if they didn't do anything, then they owed the big bad banker, Lexi, who is our front end girl or whatever, then they'd have to pay her this Monopoly cash. And at the end of the month, they all got paid out their cash. And we had almost like an adult style, like Ruckers, if we know what that is, or like a Chuck E. Cheese. So we had like this big table full of like adult prizes. So there was hair products, there was little bottles of wine, there was all sorts of things like that. So that I found was like a super um productive, retail challenge. Like we had great sales and everything like that. And our team was like so amped up about it. Like they were really excited to get the daily cards and everything like that. So yeah, when you're gamifying things, just make sure, like, kind of think outside of the box and think like what would get you riled up, what would get you motivated and excited. And then even with prizes, it doesn't necessarily, you don't have to be sinking a ton of money into the prizes or anything like that. Like some of the prizes that we had were, money to go towards their education fund. So if there's a class coming up, then we can, put a little bit into that. So there's all sorts of ways that you can incentivize. And sometimes even just being the winner and having that, credit to your name kind of thing, like sometimes that's enough incentive too. So yeah, just really thinking of things that get people excited and, ready to retail.
Love that. And you can probably come up with some ideas in like a brainstorm session during a staff meeting almost, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
if the staff kind of, comes up with an idea and then somebody else, jumps on it and sort of like builds it, you can probably get them excited and that way more committed to when you actually, put it into place. And I feel like just creating that excitement is so critical because so many times it's the beginning of the month and the salon's like, oh, we should have a promotion this month. Oh, okay, let's just do, I don't know, 15% off, these products over here. And, nobody gets excited about that anymore. So finding ways to kind of create these games and these excitement opportunities with prizes can just really take it to the next level, both from the staff standpoint and from the customer standpoint, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Love it. All right, let's finish off with some social media as well. We can't forget, this is such an incredible opportunity to reach people, right? So some of the ways that we should be featuring more retail through our social media is first and foremost, I mean, this is not, newsflash, but tutorials with Reels and TikTok videos today. It's just so perfect, right? To just shoot a very quick video of you showing how to do a particular hairstyle, right? Showing how to maintain a certain look, showing, how to hold the round brush, where to put it, how to turn it. Same thing with heat styling tools. There's so many little nuances that as an expert, right? And just sharing this knowledge through a very simple tutorial. You don't need to have your face in there if you're not comfortable with it. It could just be, your hands working with tools on hair. Doesn't have to be even an actual client. If you have some time, you can use the hair of, a colleague that's with you to kind of make a couple of videos. And again, you could probably, if you take 30 minutes to 60 minutes, one day to sort of block off some time, you could probably, record several different videos in one sitting that you can use in the future and set these up at Reels, post them, both in your stories and as regular Reels, and do them, consistently. Customers, and consumers, your followers, love to see, hair tips and tutorials, different advice. So that one is a clear winner. Another thing that really works well is doing product features, right? Highlighting special products, especially new products that you have, but not just, putting the standard picture that you got from your brand rep or your distributor rep, and then just writing, the technical details about the product. Again, kind of make it fun. One thing that we like to recommend doing is staff favorites, right? So maybe have, again, either a picture or video, whatever you're comfortable with, but each staff member sort of picking their favorite product, right? And you can take a picture of the staff member with that, holding that product, or a video where they're talking about it and why they love that product and, what are the unique benefits of that product. And this way, if you're incorporating the staff as well, it kind of personalizes it a little bit. We all know that social media posts that have sort of people in it have a better engagement rate. So that can be a really great way to sort of highlight some of the products that you have, and why stylists love them, what's unique about them. Then finally, we would say try to engage clients through social media through questions, right? And rather than waiting for clients to send you a DM message asking about something, try to start by initiating the conversation by asking questions, right? Maybe it could be as simple as, hey, who are our curly girls out there? Tell us your biggest challenges, that you have in maintaining your curls. And that's really something that's going to stimulate somebody right away who has curly hair to be like, oh my gosh, yeah, like this is my biggest problem. And now you can jump in, right, and respond to those questions. And not only are you answering that one individual who answered the question, but now if it's in the comments section, right, it's going to be visible for anybody else who is seeing that post, and they're now getting additional insights, education around a topic that interests them, right? So sort of asking your community specific questions about challenges that they have with different aspects. It might be, maintaining color. It might be curls. It might be static. It might be, hair loss at certain times of the year. There's so many things that that you can ask. So stimulate those conversations, and it allows you to then jump in with your expertise and get people talking about, the products that go along with, solving some of these issues. And it really going to help you take that conversation to the next level and get people thinking more about the product needs and how it can help their beauty challenges.
For sure. And I would say, like, again, the biggest takeaway, just even listening to you talk with that, it's like education is key with everything. The sales will come. So that's the thing. You don't even have to necessarily think about the selling. It's obviously a huge important thing, but if you concentrate on educating your guests, educating your audience, educating everything, the sales will just naturally come with that, right? Because you're building that trust, you're building that everything. So that's kind of the main thing that stylists and salon owners need to focus on, is educating themselves so that they can best educate their guests.
Don't sell.
Yeah.
Just tell. All
Yeah.
right, time for everybody out there to level up your retail game. We've also done a really great podcast. If you hadn't heard it already, it's a roundtable discussion that we had with two top salon owners with great retail success, along with Christy Valenzuela, retail guru in our industry. We had the three of them on a panel conversation discussing retail, challenges, strategies, tactics, other ideas that those salon owners had that was working well in their salon companies. So feel free to go check out that episode to get a lot of additional insights. In the meantime, if you have specific, retail games or promo ideas or things that you've done in your salon company that have worked really well, please send them through to us so that we can share with the community and allow everybody to continue to benefit from all the great knowledge that our industry can bring forward. That's retail for today. Sarah, thanks for your insights as always. And we'll catch everybody on our next episode.
Thanks, Scott.